welcome back to season 2, episode 2 of And Whose Fault Is That? Hello, Nixie. How are you today?
As soon as I hit record, I had to pee. As soon as I hit record.
Okay.
Is that
Do you
weird?
want to? Do you want to just go ahead and go pee? Leave it recording, and then you can cut the silence out later. I'll keep the ladies and gentlemen entertained about my
Yeah, you're
story
gonna have to
about
keep them
women and
entertained.
CNN and Ottomans. We've got dogs wandering around, chasing each other. I hear slurping. That's where he is. It's funny, with the way her camera is, as I'm looking at it, it's very much, and it's not the camera that's crooked, it's just the angle of the room where it's very much reminiscent of 60s Batman, 15 degrees to the right. I really can't wait till she has to edit around this later. I remember if she took her headphones. If she took her headphones, she's hearing me ramble.
Yeah.
Did you hear all of that?
Yeah.
Ah!
Also, the
You're
camera
like, it's kicking and hard
is
to pee.
the camera is crooked.
Is it okay? I mentioned that to somebody else before, and they're like, no, the camera's dead straight. And I'm like, no, your room is very 1960s Batman. Like when they when news stories or even crap on the internet, those where somebody's recorded or taken a photo in portrait, and then but the image needs to be in landscape, and they'll do that like weird blurry like zoom and like let's fill in the blank space around the portrait photo
Yes. Yes.
effect. So we've got some just average looking woman, and it just says woman killed by malfunctioning ottoman.
And so you
I'm
read the
like,
rest of that.
I don't know. There's no, I mean, I can click on it, but like just in the front, like no byline, just woman killed by malfunctioning ottoman. British woman
Turns out
malfunctioning
the
ottoman
Ottoman is
fell
putting out
on her neck. Oh my
clickbait
God.
news articles and
Yeah,
seducing
very
you.
like, 6 reasons why this malfunctioning ottoman will kill you.
God, those fucking clickbaity. It's always very obvious when the quote unquote social or marketing department is not up to the standard, or at least needs some
Or
brushing
they
up.
got hired by like Clickhole.
Or Etong capsule houses.
Yes.
One of those scenarios. But yeah, those stupid ass. And I think about it, and I think about Deborah sitting in her living room on her fun pad because she didn't want to buy a Samsung.
Correct. She's got she walked through the I don't know
And
what like the local electronics store, and yeah, they had
yeah, and she's
uh,
reading
fun
sponsored,
pad with an eye.
yeah,
You're not even
sponsored
sure where that eye
thumbnails of
gets. Yeah.
of
She's clicking on articles
did you
like
know
you're a
ginger
single
could
cell
kill you?
organism.
Yeah.
Can you evolve into a duck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I fucking, as much as I hate them, I love them at the same time. They really
It's just
there's a
terrible.
there's a good fraction of
It's like
Darwinism in there.
brain food. So, what have
So
you been up to?
well, I went to what is called the Inner Space Cavern, which was only named by that because it was a marketing ploy to make people think about the outer space but underneath the ground. It's basically a whole bunch of caves. Really cool. There was an archaeological dig site where they abandoned because there was just too much humidity and they couldn't extract anything that they found because it would basically just fall apart. So there's like animal femurs and stuff like that in like one section. What are they called? Stalagmites?
Still like
Yeah,
like the
you
the
know.
big pointy things that go
Yeah,
up.
and then
Some go down, some go up. Yeah.
yeah. I never remember the name.
Someone's yelling at us right now in the
It's
chat.
probably gonna be Jake in 2 weeks. So, lots of really cool stuff. I'll send you the photos.
Oh, very cool.
I
And like, there's just like a walkway that you get to wander around.
No, you're
and...
going for a mile underneath, and then you end up under
Okay,
the highway.
but they've got like a walkway, or is this just
Yeah,
like you go cave walking? Okay,
well, they have a walkway. They have an
okay,
area that they've excavated, and the land underneath was obviously under surveillance before they started building the highway, and then they came across these really intricate cave system. And there's areas that are lit up with red light, which means they can go from another, I think it was 10 feet to another 2 miles deep in that direction is just closed off to
Mm-hmm.
the public.
Yeah.
So that was cool, a cool way to spend a couple of hours. And then I went on the saber-tooth zip line, which is a tandem zip line, which is basically 2 seats. They
Okay. I'm
slingshot you
like, they
back
just
all the way
harness you
high,
together vertically, or just
130. No, they you kind of recline all the way back, right?
oh, okay,
130
okay.
feet in the
So there's
air.
like a
You can see once you reverse to the pole that's 130 feet tall. You could see the outhouse that covers the once ladder that used to be the access ladder for the workers that used to go in and out of the cave. They closed it
okay,
off
okay,
since then, but you could see where it was because they reference it in the tour.
repeatedly.
And then, they let go of the little slingshotty thing, and then you zip back down. It's a cute little, ooh, we're high. Ooh, it's over. Aw. Where you end up and you're like, again, but they won't let you.
Again.
Yeah. So,
Sorry,
that
miss.
was cool.
One ticket per person.
Yeah, that was cool. I'm very, unfortunately, no longer spongy in my absorption of information from tour guides. I remember in school, whether it was elementary or high school, very into whatever the hell the tour guide was saying. Now I just zone out and I was like, I'm very like in my own little bubble. As long as I'm
Mm.
not breaking any rules by exiting the line, I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah.
On the topic of memory, actually, it was pretty funny. I was marveling. Spotify had served up some Beastie Boys in the playlist, and it occurred to me about halfway through the song that I knew every single word. And a friend of mine, John, grew up in the '80s in Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, that like
Mm-hmm.
the boroughs, and like the Beastie Boys were just guys that did shows in places and bars that he showed up. So kind of before they were famous, or like when they were just starting out, like as it is that they're just like a local bunch of guys. And so I texted him, I'm like, so I can't remember where I put my uh Torx drill bit set, but I know like the lyrics to 40 Beastie Boys songs. Can I just go ahead and assume they're seared into the back of your skull too? And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh God, yes." He's like, "I don't remember what I had for dinner last week, and yet I could recite all the lyrics." So yeah, I guess
I
same
get.
same problem. You're like, "Oh, I could tell you all about President Lincoln's Canadian cabin, but what did you say about that rock?" Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I think now that's making me go off on a separate a separate note of unless it's music, I can pretty much memorize anything at this point. I just don't. It's weird because I've told myself so many times that if it's not important, I'll just forget it, and it's like, well, some things have to be important. You're not remembering anything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
unless it's music, because lyrics I will remember absolutely, because I'm fairly certain that I am just missing some sort of ADHD diagnosis, which I really want to get myself to go get checked out. But
Yeah.
I just stim the same things over and over and over again. So how could I not memorize them? And so it's weird, but maybe not as heavily as my band era where I can sing every song from A Perfect Circle, Tool, Deftones, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still music is still very heavily influential on whether or not I remember something. But when that's someone's yapping and I'm not interested, even if I tried, it's like my brain already
Yeah.
decided, sorry, Katie, you seem nice, but I don't give a shit.
I just wonder, like, hey, the lyrics to Brass Monkey, are they taking up some important space that I could be using for something else?
And the answer is no. The answer is absolutely not.
And they're like, no,
No.
we're going to remove the how to cook rice.
Exactly. What do you need to? You have buttons for that now. Like, who
Yeah.
cares?
And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Nah, nah, nah."
Yeah. Things that have no buttons. Anniversaries, dates, stuff like that.
Yeah, just not important stuff. But I'm going off that and people and things is I have probably for the last 3 months been slowly like making my way through old seasons of Taskmaster, and we have briefly talked about this in our private text channel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I was always aware of it, but I really never watched like dedicated episodes and started going back through like all because they've got all the seasons on YouTube,
Yeah.
and there are just like if anything, yes, it's entertaining, but what sometimes fascinates me is people's approaches to some of the tasks.
Example.
So, for the listeners that are uninitiated, Taskmaster is a British television show that's on its like 18th season,
Is
and the
it really?
concept is you have like a host and a taskmaster, and then you've
Mm-hmm.
got 5 comedians, and the comedians are tasked all with the same task, like throw this egg into one of 5 barrels, but you can't be touching the egg and you can't leave this spot and you have to do it blindfolded. Fastest time wins. Like they're just like, and they come up with tasks and it keeps them in. But just people's approaches to some of the tasks are freaking hilarious
I mean, it's what
sometimes.
makes it interesting, right? Is how's this person gonna do
Exactly.
it?
Like
Yeah.
there was one that I was watching where the task was to take, there were dinner plates on one side of a parking lot, and they needed to carry the dinner plates from one side to the other, but they had to do it in one of 3 modes of transportation: a bicycle, a hoverboard, or a scooter. And again, you get the people who are like, "Oh no, I'm just going to figure out what thing I'm like most balanced on and just take like 6 plates across at a time." You get um the one who just like took um the tablecloth and turned it into a giant sack of plates, threw it over his shoulder, and then proceeded to uh, ride the scooter, dropping all the plates along
Oh,
the way.
that didn't.
So, but anyway, yeah,
That didn't
Taskmaster
help. They
definitely
they
amusing me.
flopped it here.
Like
One
the U.S. one,
season,
you mean?
only one season. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. They attempted to do
Okay,
it.
yeah,
I don't know
but now
what the name of the
apparently it's
actor
like,
was,
yeah,
which should also tell you, you know.
but I feel like that's the same problem that they had with Top Gear.
Yes,
Remember, like Top Gear
yes.
was like many years of super successful Top Gear in the UK, and then they were like, "We're gonna try it in the States," and I don't even remember how many. I never watched it. I mean, why do I want diet vanilla ice cream if I can just watch the good stuff over there?
Yeah, we don't want no RC Cola. Okay,
Yeah,
so what do you think? Do you think that it's already established an identity and that it's wrapped around in the culture of where it originates? Or do you think that Mythbusters would have totally went well if they brought it to London?
I think the internet ruined everything
That's another approach. I agree.
because in the before times.
Before everything gets picked apart, you mean?
Yeah. Well, no, but the idea is distribution, right? To me, it's distribution. I think it's the what's the novelty? It's one thing where like let's take probably in my mind, The Office is the greatest example because Office was early enough where it existed in the UK, but things weren't prevalent enough as far as like the internet and stuff went that you didn't hear about the UK office over here. Like it didn't permeate into here
Mm-hmm,
because it
mm-hmm.
didn't have like a vehicle to spread. And so that the office here could be set up individually and following the same formula and be successful
So,
because
so your argument is that the internet, being all wise and never blind to anything, has accelerated the comparison problem of
not even
one.
the comparison, just the but I get like for example with Top Gear, the only Top Gear I ever knew was I was stealing it off the internet at 12 years old.
Right. But you wouldn't steal a car, would you? I'm
You
sorry,
know
I
what
had
I mean.
to.
The point, yeah, of course you wouldn't.
Okay,
but
okay.
um, but that's the thing is that like I spent all these years watching the original, And I think so many people of my generation did because it was rebroadcasted on YouTube and before they were like takedown crazy. And then I remember it showing up on sites as like MOV files and quick times and things like that. Like people were posting them
So
and
you
I was
think
watching them and
scarcity
like,
played a big part
what's
as
that?
well? Do you think scarcity played a big part as well? Just you couldn't have access to it, and so having to search for something.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but I'm bringing from the point of view of like Taskmaster already saturated. People could watch it. They had friends. You had if it popped up on Netflix, people knew that you could just jump on a VPN and go watch it. Other people were sharing, and so my theory would be once it's get over here. But like, why would I want to watch the? I guess it does have a bit of a draw. Like, it looks like the New Zealand one is popular, but like everybody they're bringing on are like New Zealand comedians. So it's really who's local to you. Because I was gonna say comedians wise in all the episodes I'm watching of Taskmaster, I could probably count on one hand the number of comedians I recognize on there and I'm familiar with.
Yeah,
While if you live there, you should be familiar with all these people
yeah, yeah.
because
That's
they're on your TV, they're on your radio stations, they're on your podcasts locally to the country. But that's why I mean that's my minor theory as to why some of these shows that start up in other countries don't make it is because people have already been exposed to the original and then they're like, not as fired up about the idea of like a remake for their country.
I mean, that's yeah. I guess that's one way of looking at it for sure.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is.
I still don't. Could that be any bigger? You vanished.
Sorry, what?
I don't know. I was gonna read my post and then I just saw the whole screen go white. I don't know what the hell happened.
Just took a drink of water out of my
You
mug. I
can
don't.
teleport into a sauna. Now it's small. Explain yourself.
6 months ago, after we I was walking through a flea market and I found this gigantic head-sized mug, and I was like, "That's going to be the best gag." Where mid-sentence, I'm talking to Nixie, and I'm just going to reach over off camera, giant mug,
Well, it worked. And then you
sip
pulled up
some
your little
water.
weird shot glass.
And then when she's and then when she's like, "What the fuck was that?" I'm going to then reach off camera and get the mug that I found sitting next to it, which is teeny tiny, and take a drink out of that.
Well, it worked. I'm fairly certain that I'm being asked right now.
Where I went because the
Oh,
mug is so huge.
I just got a message. No, I'm not. I thought I was going to be psychic, but
Breaking
I'm not
news.
psychic. Breaking news. What I thought was going to be, hey, I'm going to take the dogs for a W, which is what's going to happen anyway, because we have we kind of have like a back-to-back happening today. I
Yes.
got from Jake, my husband, there was 3 kids riding a 4-wheeler, the same one from earlier. Well, 3 on at once. They started a fire in the woods behind our house, and the fire department is back there right now, and traffic is backed up to hell. So,
Because you guys have a lot of good luck with four-wheelers and children, right?
4-wheelers and children are probably like it's our favorite
You're like,
things if you
go
combine
away.
them together. Yeah. Yeah. If anything, I'm about to put some random windows in the middle of the forest so that they can go there. Let's draw them away from us.
It is. I mean, back left corner, there's a window. It is daylight. These children are starting fires in daylight. That's so amateur.
It's actually very
Dusky.
unfortunate how often we hear firearms go off. Probably once a week. It's always the same person
Okay.
too, because it's either all 6 shots or 3. It's always the same person, same cadence, pop, 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 and then, or whatever. And
Firing range nearby or something? No. You're like,
it's just some
the
fucking
woods.
idiot that's like, I have a gun. And it's a waste. So, that's the breaking news. But do you want to talk to me about your foot through stairs, or is this not a topic we're touching? Because I can cut it.
Oh, we can talk this. Yeah, I was gonna say this. I have this on my topic list. It's called the stairs betrayed me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Let me hear it.
we are doing flooring in the sunroom of our summer house, and just kind of piecing this out little bit by bit. And on Saturday, the plan was we are going to go to Heather's son's soccer game, and then we'll roll down there after the soccer game, and we have like about 16 tiles left to set. Um, Super easy.
Oh,
There's just the last
that's
couple
not
of
a lot.
rows. Not a lot is exactly
Okay.
super easy. We've got everything we need. Everything was cleaned up. I left it prepped before we did.
Easy
How
peasy.
how hard could it be?
Exactly.
So we went down there. I changed it to my I can get mortar on these clothes, and then I grabbed some extension cords because it was starting to get a little bit dark. But I'm like, we can still do this. We're lit up inside. I just need to run the extension cord and plug in the drill. Make a mix a bucket of mortar, already pre-measured. Bing bang boom. Um, and yes, there was a boom. So I step outside. I step on the first or second step going down the stairs, and the board breaks under my foot, sending it. I mean, it's not a high drop. I mean, this is like the third stair, so maybe it's like when I fell through it, it really only goes up to like my knee,
Right.
to the ground below. But nevertheless, not only did we go through the board, it whacked our shin on the board below it,
Ugh.
whatever. Yeah. So it hurt like a bitch. Not messy like scrape, but bruised the hell out of
Still
my
hurt.
left
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
shin. Like still very tender. Like I can't put any pressure on it or touch it at all. Sleeping is interesting in the positions that I tend to sleep on, where yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I'm big band-aids and Neosporin, but at that point, Heather was like, "Well, we're calling it off." So
Well,
uh,
good call,
I was
obviously.
thrown on the couch. I was bandaged up. I was handed a beer and told, "Sit, no moving."
I
And so
mean, it's a
I
good
sat on
thing
the
you didn't
couch and
break anything.
yes, and that's what I was talking to my dad earlier, and he's like, "Well, thank God you didn't sprain anything." I'm like, "No, my foot fell straight through. There was nothing to twist or do anything. There's just like
Yeah,
mulch
but I mean,
underneath the
if you
stairs."
had somehow thrown your weight in a different direction, you could have seriously like
Oh yeah. No, I know. And
snapped
I was like,
something or so
yeah,
yeah. That's good then. Okay, so those
yeah.
12
So there
tiles
was
will
an
have to
added
wait.
project on. Yeah, so I sat on the couch, watched Taskmaster, and we did have to knock all the because we use the tile like leveling clips. So needed to go around with a rubber mallet and whack them all off the thing. So Heather, like I said, threw me on the couch, gave me a beer, said, "Sit here, watch TV. I'm gonna whack all the clips out, and then I will join you." So she went
Okay.
through and whacked all the clips out of the floor, and she was like, "Okay, well, we're not doing that tonight." So yeah, it's kind of worked out. And the next day, added task. We went to the store, got some pressure treated lumber, and replaced all the stair treads.
Oh
And
boy.
our neighbor from across the street, who's been there for 35 years, heard the story and goes, "Oh yeah, those are the original stairs." I'm like, "Thanks, Dave."
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they would be, wouldn't they?
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, that's all of that's original." And we're like, "Oh god, okay, yeah, we should probably make an effort at some point to replace some of this." And even when the stringers um, were a little touchy in a couple of places where I'm like, "Huh, you used to be wood, not anymore."
Not anymore. Not anymore.
So,
Yeah.
chocolate water here.
I
So,
I got the text message and you're like, "Well, this happened." I was like, "For fuck's sake."
yeah,
And I knew for sure that you had been overly productive the week previous, and so I expected you to not have much left to do anyway. And the
yeah,
first thing that popped into my head was like, he probably went there to do something stupid too. It was just like, well, so
yeah.
much for doing the, whatever would have taken about a couple of hours, which is not like anything to sneeze at, but you know, it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
12 tiles.
Yeah, and so the next day Heather insisted, she's like, "I will do the tile. You just keep me fed with mortar, and then and you do the stairs." So while she did that, I knocked out the stair treads. But yeah, we still have to finish grouting. Like we got half the grouting done. Um, we got half the grouting done before we left on Sunday.
Mm,
But yeah, but speaking of getting rid of things,
yeah.
I so for the longest time, years now, I've been paying for Backblaze, the online backup service.
Oh God, I totally forgot what that was. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
Because
go ahead.
it was like I had all the pictures of the kid, I had videos and things like
Yes.
that, all on this giant 4 terabyte drive, in addition to my TV shows and legally acquired videos. And so I'm like, well, Backblaze, there's no limit or anything, so I'm just gonna back up the entire 4 terabyte drive, which is about half full. Um, but then, our listeners will remember that last season I took the time to go and like throw everything up to Google Photos. So all the
Yes.
important child photos, child videos, everything is all up there. I even went through and like cleaned up. There's a music folder I had of like MP3s from time on before, and maybe there's about 10 CDs in there like do not exist anywhere, for whatever reason.
Hmm.
But the majority of all the important stuff is gone, and Backblaze just sent me a bill for the next year of service, and I'm like, there's nothing worth backing up here. Like, not to the cloud anymore. Like, there's nothing critical on here. TV, some music, some movies.
Would you mind disclosing
And
what the
so
bill was?
$100. So it's
Oh,
$100 a
okay.
year.
Okay.
It's not a lot, but it's still $100 a year. And I'm
It's
like,
not egregious, but I mean, if you
it's
don't
not
use it,
egregious,
then you're
but I'm like,
like,
I just
eh.
couldn't justify perpetually paying $100 a year for what is being backed up. So I'm like, okay, like reoccurring subscriptions is one thing, but what if I just buy another 4 terabyte hard drive and then just run a script and have it just every day duplicate what's on that drive just in case if something happens, because just having to re-download all that stuff and re-index it would just be a nightmare. So I'm like, why don't I just go through and then just have a duplicate, and like it'd be too much trouble to go through and like try to RAID array it into like some sort of mirror backup. I don't mind just having a second drive in there.
Yeah.
So that showed up today, and I just started the backup, and I'm like, hey, just go do your thing. And then that was $60 for a 4 terabyte drive. Like, it's one time and it'll last forever, and you know, no reoccurring subscriptions.
I mean, you are saving money at that point, and you were a good service, but GG's no longer needed.
Yeah, especially like for like on my personal computer, it's like it goes up to I'm already paying for iCloud because of the phones.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that one I will always pay for, just because for the sheer purpose of like less of a headache, especially when I have Mila, because I've got the family plan with the 2 terabytes. So it's like Mila's laptop for school, don't have to think about it, just goes to the cloud. And on top of that, she's really not putting anything on it because the school uses like Office 365,
Yeah.
which means all of her school or work and everything lives in the cloud anyway.
Yeah.
And then phone, iPad, same deal. Never have to worry about it. Gets backed up. Something goes wrong, she can always restore. If she gets a new phone, she just restores from that. I've been restoring for backup for ages, and yeah, again, my MacBook, same thing. Just like, nah, just go up there. There's nothing to lose. Everything lives in there. So
I
some things, yes, but now I'm like, nah, you're not worth it. Backblaze, very good service. Like, the nice thing about Backblaze was they were one of the last ones where you could still back up external drives, because a lot of the other ones, a lot of the other cloud services started cracking down. If it was an external hard drive, they were like, nope. And they started putting limits. And last I remember, Backblaze was like, yeah, whatever. How much did you want to cram up here? We don't care.
Yeah, which is why you stuck with them.
Yeah,
Um,
we don't care. We could have an external drive. I mean, in this case, it was a drive on the machine that was
mm,
getting backed up. But when I started the process many years ago on the last computer, it was definitely an external drive. Actually, it was. I had the Drobo. Does everybody remember the Drobo?
Jesus Christ, isn't that like 25,
What's that?
25 years old?
Yeah. So they were those like proprietary, not I would say proprietary, those drive arrays that you could build. And like Drobo's big claim to fame was whatever you throw in here, will just turn into one giant storage,
Yeah.
which was great. And that's what I mean. Like, I remember when I built mine, it was, I got my hands on a 1 terabyte drive, but then I also got my hands on like a 500 gig. And then I've got this old 250 collecting dust in the corner. Oh, and is that a 475? Let's just slap all of you random, just degenerates into this one drive and turn it into one fault tolerant array. Of questionable speed, because of course it's like some drives are 7200, some drives are 54, and um
I I have backupceptionitis, and
you've
I
got backups in your
suffer
backups.
triplicates and quadruplicates, and I have a backup folder that's called backups do not delete, and in there somewhere there's another backup folder that was a backup folder, and it goes on and on. Like, I just keep transferring things over to the new drive, somehow convincing myself that this is now the go-to drive that has everything that I need. But then there's so much that is uncategorized that I just end up duplicating duplicates, and I have probably the same picture saved 8 times all in one drive somewhere, separate, scattered. And I can remove duplicates based on metadata, but who wants to do that? I'd rather just
Oh
be
no,
like,
it's a thankless,
it
tedious,
is
like,
not worth
data
it.
hygiene. When you're us and you've been collecting this cruft like a junk
Years
drawer
and
for the
years
last
and years.
15
Oh,
years, yeah, I mean,
no.
and in my case, I'm like, I hand to God, when I started the cleanup, it took me probably a month to go through that. That drive actually had other folders in it. The one that I had the photos, it
Mm-hmm.
had other folders in it that had exactly that. There were folders inside, like folders called like MacBook backup
Yeah.
and Dell, 740p backup, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I haven't had this computer for 15 years, but apparently my ass at some point took the entire contents of that C drive and dragged it on a
It
thumb
was very
drive, and then
important.
yeah, and because I'm like, no, not even very important. I don't know what I don't know on high. Oh, I might have put something here that I'll remember later and then have a panic attack about. So let's just back everything up except Windows and hope to God it's still here. And when I went cleaning through that, I was like, what is even in here? This is a postage stamp that is 3 pixels across. I don't know if that's a dog, cat, or human. Delete. Um,
Those are the best
Fill
ones.
resume 1, fill resume 1.1,
Oh
fill
my
resume
God, new
2.1.
fill resume 93, fill resume 97. Yeah, I know,
Yeah, and
I
I'm
know.
like,
They all
nope.
end.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So I went through it with a machete, but again, it takes time, and you have
Yeah.
to just. But nobody wants to do it because
I
again, it's akin to a junk drawer.
I have named things now with the year and month that I've created the backup. So at least I can find which backup I would ever be obsessed about 20 years from now when I'm looking for, let's just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo here on this stupid ass backup that I made. It took me, by the way, a full week to go through the duplicate Adobe motion graphics and templates that I have accrued over the years. I had so many like cinematic openings and logo reveals that I was like, I'm gonna need this for the day that I start my own production studio. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was just hoarding all of this
All of
crap.
these are in 360p. What the hell?
And like I have old PC, then I have old PC video folder, then I have iPhone backups and pics. So I was like, oh, that seems pretty straightforward. And then I click on that, and I'm like, there's just too much in here. It's too much. It's Christina Visits 2024, Christina Visits 2019, March 25th, photos and vids. Then one folder that's just called vids, and the other one that's just called photos. It's like, why didn't I put that one in there? How do I split this? And then there's a folder called use this folder to back up the end of 2024. It's empty. I've preemptively made myself a folder for backups, which, by the way, is a duplicate of another one that's called nearly the same thing. So, yeah, it's all insane stuff. And if I try to find the duplicates and delete them, like you said, it's a fool's errand, basically. And every once in a while, it's nice to just click on a random folder and be like, oh, yeah, this stuff. It's very funny. Yeah. So, yay, backups.
Yeah. But again, yeah, it's the longer the longer you're in this space, again, the more just like a snowball. But a snowball rolling down a hill with no snow, and you're just like, what is this half broken stick? Why did I save this again?
It's so stupid. It's like the drawer of cables that I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
I
Oh
should
yeah,
really keep this giant Rubbermaid bin of cables because you never know when you're going to need 47 HDMI cables. It's very important to keep all of these cables that you never find when the time is right. So you just keep ordering them
is
from
this
Amazon.
a VGA to USB-C? What the hell?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
I know.
We've had conversations about this before about not being able to clean and let things go, coming from a very don't waste money type of upbringing where you can't waste money and you got to be smart with how you spend your money. And it's like,
But the problem is that what was it the other day? I was doing something in the basement, and I was actually, what I was curious is, I remember that my router has 2 USB ports, and
yes.
I have a UPS mounted directly below it, and the UPS has a USB port, and I have this wonder, I wonder if the router supports the UPS, and will it actually like recognize it and see it? But it's old style USB A to USB B. And now I'm like, oh, I have to have this cable. I had one. There was a time when I had like 100. There's a good reason. I'm very glad that I didn't throw this one cable out.
But now you're going to be like,
so comes in
"Do I
handy."
need another?"
Oh, and by the way, it does not recognize the UPS, so complete
Oh,
waste. And the
sad
cable got wrapped and
face.
thrown right back in the Ziploc bag that I found it.
Oh man, I tried
But
to.
that's fine. It was just a minor curiosity because it was like, oh, I wonder if this will like actually work. No, sadly no.
Yeah, I have a nice little
But yeah, it's the UPS that
makeshift
kind of runs the
NAS setup. But I just want
no,
to
well,
move everything over.
yeah.
I literally like that's my biggest thing is that thankfully I can say with confidence that for the most part I live in a very clean home. Does it get not so tidy? Sure. But I've never feel to the point where I'm like, "Oh my god, my house is completely upside down." Why? Because I have a very low tolerance of untidiness and I start to lose my mind and it needs to be clean. And then that usually stays for a while. And so it'll taper off during the end of the week where it's like, things are a little bit messy. Clean up again, it's good. Very low-hanging fruit when it comes to cleaning and maintenance when I live somewhere. But my PC, my God, my files, I need time just to do this alone. And even then, go through all of the stupid pictures. You've been through this. Pictures of like a hand, a chin. Like, why are we even keeping these? Who decided that when they dumped the entire USB key or flash drive or whatever SD card you had, that you didn't take 2 seconds to sort through the 27 pictures of someone's sock? Like, why do we have these pictures? So,
Things to do, people to see.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. So, well, I'm glad that your foot is not as banged up.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
yeah, very interesting about your goodbye subscription. $100 a month, 100 saved.
Yeah,
100
like
a year.
I said,
Sorry, a year. Yeah.
yeah, just I mean, again, it's just a matter of I don't know. I just couldn't justify it. I mean, I don't have many other subscriptions. So just kind of thinking about that. I see these ads all the time where, what the hell is that one service? Like Rocket something? Rocket Money? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
About?
What's that?
Rocket Mortgage?
No, I think it's called like Rocket Money. I could be completely wrong. But the idea is like you feed it all of your bank accesses, and then it comes back and it's like, you moron, you're paying for Netflix 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Who
and
does
it's just
that?
like, what's that?
Tell me the truth. Who does that? I've seen those advertisements and I
I
cannot for the life of me.
the thing with those advertisements, the one that kills me with that is that the example they give whenever I see them on like Instagram is the, oh no, I'm still paying for my ex-boyfriend from 3 boyfriends ago Netflix. That's terrible. And they're like, who does that? Who's paying for their boyfriend's Netflix?
For the absolute destroyed every man's wallet and every woman's wallet, where we're all legitimately penny pinching, who is that unaware that they have multiple subscriptions?
There has to be, well, that's the thing, is that I think there, it must be a thing, because I'm noticing that banks are now including the service themselves, like saying like, hey, like I had what's it called, one of the credit cards I have, I gave I made my daughter a authorized user, and then she signed up for a YMCA membership, and that immediately at the top in their app up made it appear, so every time like 5 days before this the membership would charge, it had a little window that would say expected reoccurring monthly charges.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And so like I said, this must be some sort of blight on on the young people, because it legitimately is now becoming a thing. And I think people forget. I think more than duplicate subscriptions, I think people forget. And a lot of these things, I think you will agree with me, are engineered for you to forget that you signed up for fresh produce deliveries on your, on the 7th month in a full moon, and it's charging you $4.99 a month for no reason. A lot of these things I feel like are engineered by those companies to just like, we're just going to sign
Set
you
it and
up and you
forget
might
it.
not even
Yeah.
use it and you'll forget.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
how
think
they get
that's
you
where
with
that is.
trials because they don't expect people
Hmm.
to remember um, after 90 days. The 30 days, which used to be the standard, didn't perform as well, when pulling internal data. And so 90 days became the standard, where if you sign up, you get 3 months free, and then all you have to do is cancel your subscription before the 90 days are up, and you're not going to be charged $200 for the year, because they don't even fucking
Yes.
tell you like, hey, we're going to charge you for the month. No, it's for the year, by the way.
Yeah.
Surprise. Like, so
Yeah.
um
And then
yeah.
there's no, I mean, Heather's daughter works at um, a massage chain as a receptionist, and that is one of the things that like, or was it, maybe no, hers doesn't do it, but somewhere I had heard like Heather ran into this where if you don't cancel by the 6th day of the month, then sorry, we can't refund your money anymore.
Yeah, yeah, there's
And
so
and
many.
you get charged on the 7th day of the month, and when you fall into a panic going, but I need to cancel, they're like, absolutely, but you should, if you wanted to cancel this month, you should have called 2 days ago before we charged you today.
And on the seventh
um
day, God said, like, so
God damn it, another $90 gone this month. But yeah, I don't find the ads pushing the, oh, I forgot that I'm paying for 3 subscriptions. I think it's more about the, I forgot I signed up for this trial and they're still charging me, and now this will surface that. Like that seems to be the more plausible, because like I'm with you. Like, who forgets that they're paying for 3 subscriptions?
yeah, I think
And not that
my
it's implausible, but I think it's harder to do.
I think my gripe is more with how things are advertised these days. But yeah, I do agree with you that it's not, especially in an age or a period of time where everything is digital and you did not mentally train yourself to keep track of your expenses.
Yeah, and
Um,
everything's on autopilot, and everything's so easy to trigger.
and that carries over to what you learned to write checks for, and how you learn to keep track of the things that you purchase throughout the month or the year. That is not something that you can unlearn. And so even if the product is digital, you've already trained your brain to look at things like, I signed up for this thing. This is where the money comes from. You might not physically be writing a check, but your brain already operates like that. For someone that, you got burped and all of a sudden you have Netflix, you don't know what it's like to write a check. Like at this point, they don't even swipe their cards anymore. It's just contactless and burping into your watch. Like so I can understand the need.
Yeah.
That's about it. Let me end this topic if you're okay with that.
Please.
Oh, I just got a notification saying that we have a double header. Thanks. Notifications
coming from inside the house.
It's coming from inside the house. I have been going to the chiropractor now for a few weeks. I've been told to go twice a week because I'm extra scrunchy. And today was the first time I burst into tears in front of any doctor ever after they've touched me. And not out of pain, out of a crazy ass relief that has been 20 years coming. I am literally the victim of one of those TikTok videos where they just fucking crunch you and they pretend they're chiropractors and they're like, okay, take a deep breath. And then they fold you and you make all kinds of pasta cracking sounds. So routine is, hey, Nixie, you can go on the massage table thing, which is basically a table that you lay on that has a mechanical ball bearing that keeps moving and just massages you automatically for 3 minutes, right? And it just starts getting your circulation going. And it has like a thoracic and a this and a that. I don't know. She always puts the same setting for me from the bottom of my neck all the way to around like my tailbone. And it keeps going through that motion up and down for 3 minutes. It beeps. It's over. The doctor will see you now. That's how it starts every time. So
little chiropractic foreplay.
Yes. So now that I'm almost warmed up, this time I could tell she's behind. There's several people in the waiting room. I hear other people talking in other rooms. I'm like, there's no way she's going to see me right away. Usually I'm in and out 15 minutes, no problem. That's how it should be done, folks, by the way. And I'm face down on my boob pillow. I have to use a boob pillow because I can't do it. It hurts too much to lie on the front of my body with too much pressure. It just hurts my boobs. So I need this weird concave boob pillow to help me not be in as much pain. And then you've been to the chiropractor?
Yes.
So you know that weird little double pillow where you're supposed to put your face so that
yes.
they can
Yeah.
Okay, so
face hole.
The face hole. Yeah, whatever.
The face hole.
Yeah. So she goes I guess one of the clinicians or something, she's also the receptionist, but she's like, doctor's gonna be with you shortly. I'm gonna put this heated blanket on you. Just relax or whatever. I'm like, okay. I cannot sit still. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with me. I cannot. After like 6 minutes of waiting, it was probably not even 6 minutes. I'm like getting up.
They put me in that on the. I fall asleep. That's the thing, is that when I'm in those situations, I'm like, sorry, no one can bother me right now. My phone is in the car. Night.
No, nothing like that. I don't like the face hole thing. And I think it's because a big problem with me is that I have a really bad misalignment with my neck. And so what is supposed to feel relaxing feels really bad for me. I'm not comfortable in that thing. And so, which tells me my neck is straight. As soon as I feel discomfort, I'm like, well, this is probably how it should be, because if it was up to me, I'd be like, staring at my own knees. Like, it's just really bad. So I'm there in discomfort for a few minutes and I'm waiting. And I'm just like, I'm restless. I can't stop moving. It's like ridiculous. So I stand up, I stretch. I try to put myself in the same position that I was before. But then I realize, I had put face cream on in the morning and I've left what looks like Veronica's towel, the Jesus imprint in the freaking what do you call that paper? It's like that tissue.
Oh, they
paper.
put the butcher paper. They put the the medical
and
paper.
And I just have face, and I was like, well, I can't reface my face. That's weird. Wouldn't I be double dipping? And am I going to reabsorb the
now you're smudged and now you're smearing.
No, exactly. So I don't know how to work this thing because for some reason I'm trying to pull the paper through and it's just
You're like,
jamming.
this isn't like a roll of paper towels. I can't just pull and then just
No,
tear.
it's not. And I'm like, I don't understand. And so now I'm ripping little by little. Then I broke the thing and I'm
Oh,
trying
God.
to place it back, right? And then
And now you're
I'm
paper
holding
macheing a
I'm
face
holding
mask.
the roll under my thing, and I was like, how does this
Oh
work?
my God, the roll is out now. Oh boy.
The whole roll is out. I don't know what the hell I did. And I hear footsteps. I hear them talking. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, this is
So I
why you were
just,
crying. You were caught
no. So then
messing
I
with the
put the
equipment.
roll back. I somehow like figure out how to do it. And all this sneaking for what? As soon as she walks in, she's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I broke your thing. Like I couldn't keep it in.
I can't contain myself. I broke a thing.
I couldn't keep it in. I was like, I broke your thing. She's like, huh? I'm like, I don't know how to put the paper thing back. And she's like, okay. And then she just lifts the metal thing that I didn't know lifted. And I was like, oh. It's like one of those
Next
paper
time.
cutter things. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
next time, whatever.
Next time I'll be prepared when I
Yeah,
smear my
yeah.
face all over this. Oh,
So anyway,
God.
she
Oh, that's great.
talks to me and asks me whether or not, damn it, I have to book that appointment. She asks me whether or not I booked the appointment to
Well,
get
folks, the answer is no, she didn't.
I didn't. To get my to get some MRIs scanned. She wants me to look at the lower spine and whatever, this and that. I tell her no. I'm like, truthfully, I forgot. I haven't. I'll try to get on that as soon as possible. Then I tell her that, next Monday I won't be in. I have, other things happening, but I'll see her on the Wednesday. She's like, okay, you're good. Sit up, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. She goes, okay, take a deep breath. And I'm like, deep breath? She goes, and exhale. And then she goes, and I was like, whoa. I was like, and, I told you about this last week for anybody that missed the episode. The table that she puts me on, it's very noisy. And it really does sound like I'm breaking the table every time she puts pressure on it. Like, it's just like, clong, clong. And I'm like, so it more jostled me than anything else. But I did feel it in my back. I felt a little, I was like, oh, how nice. I actually cracked my back. That's cool. And then she's like, do me a favor, sit up and sit on the chair over there. And she goes, so how's it been going? Like, were you tired the last time or were you sore the last time you were here? I said, the last time I came was the first time that I felt sore post. And she tells me and Jake all the time, after this session, you're going to feel like you went to the gym. Please take it easy. Don't lift anything heavy for at least a day.
Yeah.
And I never felt it. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm lifting couches, vacuuming. Like, I was like, sure, sore. I don't know. Maybe my pain tolerance is higher. I have no freaking idea. I never felt it. But the previous week, this last one, I was like, actually, yeah, I felt pretty sore the day after. So I guess whatever you're doing is starting to take effect because I feel exhausted the next day. She's like, great. And she's talking to me. She goes, what else? I'm like, honestly, I've been sleeping like crap the last couple of days. I don't know what it is.
And it has nothing to do with the lack of breathing. So stop asking.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with that. I said, I've been using the cervical pillow for 10 minutes at a time, trying to straighten my neck. I just can't. I'm not comfortable. I don't know what's going on. I try to not put my neck down too much.
40 years of sleeping incorrectly, lady. You can't undo it.
I know. I go, but lately it's been really bad where I'm making a comment about it. And so she goes, okay. And then she moves her fingers up to the base of my neck. And then she does this. Okay. Let's see here. She goes, and then on the left, she goes, do you mind, I'm going to turn your neck a little bit. She goes, and then I'm going to push in. She goes, but if it doesn't feel good, you could tell me. And I was like, okay, no problem.
You just scream if I'm about to make you pain.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And she goes, you're going to take a deep breath. She's like, I'm going to do what I have to do. And she goes, but you could tell me if it hurts too much. I was like, okay, no worries. I was like, I couldn't feel anything that she was doing. I was like, no problem. And then she goes, okay. But I have never felt anything like that in my life. I literally went, oh, and then just started crying like an asshole. It was so much relief on this side. I was like,
wow.
She's like, are you okay? It literally sounded like the audio like the little audio blips that they put in the videos. It sounded like someone
I
ran
do
over a
believe,
bag of rigatoni, dry
yeah, I was gonna say,
rigatoni.
I do believe the people like to call that stress. You've been holding stress back there, and she just popped it.
Well, she does the whole like it sounded like
Yeah.
16 pops. It was insane, and I just like cried out of relief or or tension release, whatever the hell it was.
Hmm.
And then she goes, "Did I hurt you?" And I was like, "No, I'm really sorry. I just haven't been able to crack my neck in like 20 years." I was like, "That felt okay. I'm not in pain. I'm just really
I
shocked
just
to hear
I'm gonna
that."
come in once a week, and I
And she
just need you
goes,
to do
"Oh,"
that.
she goes, "That's good news." She goes, "So the bad news is your right side is actually worse, and I didn't want to start with your right side." So she's like, "So I started with your left." I was like, "How about, doctor, we wait till Wednesday to do the right side?" And she's like, "Okay." She goes, "Your
Dear.
right side is a lot worse than your left." And I was like, "I am looking forward to Wednesday." It was fantastic. I've never felt that in a well, I haven't in a really long time, because I used to be able to do the whole, like when people.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to
I've
do that.
been, I mean, all the hunching over and doing the tile and stuff. I've been. Heather's daughter goes to a chiropractor regularly because just she finds it to be very helpful. So she's going like I think once a week.
Hmm.
But whatever, like she goes regularly, and I did something stupid. Um, I don't know whether it was sitting on the airplane, whatever. This was like 5, 6 years ago, and went to go visit the parents, and I did something, and when I came back, like I was immobile. Like the pain at the base of my neck was so bad. Like I went to the chiropractor, and my only problem with this is just it becomes pricey because they want to put you on this regime where you're
Hmm.
going to them like 4 times a week.
Hmm.
Like I get it, but at my copay, it's a car payment every week,
Hmm.
which just makes it a little hard to stomach. But I would totally be down for like once every 2 weeks, just like. But the problem is that they won't just take you there unless you manipulate the system. Like you need to. I feel like there's this unspoken kind of like, no, no, we will onboard you. To the subscription, and you need to go for like 3 weeks until I feel like we fixed the main problems, and then then they'll put you on a maintenance plan of like once in a while.
Okay.
But my cheap chiropractor coming back from the shore after doing tile and stairs this weekend was,
Yeah.
um, I turned the Tesla has disgusting seat heaters. Not only are they instantaneous,
Hmm.
they have 3 settings, and the most powerful one is basically like heating blanket set to 11.
Oof.
And
Okay.
I put that on as we were leaving, and my God, just I didn't care if I was roasting my balls. It felt amazing on my lower back for the 2 hour drive back to just heat the lower. And I think that and popping 2 Advil before I left, like slept like a baby,
There you
didn't
go.
wake up in pain. But I wrote down cervical pillow. You're gonna have to tell me more about
Well, we're
this
gonna
and
have to keep
how.
that for the next episode. We are at time,
Okay,
Phil.
a time. Okay,
We're at
we'll pick this
time,
up on
Phil.
we'll pick this up at cervical
I'm
pillows
very
and
curious to hear about your cervical pillow next week. Please don't forget that. Um,
oh, it's not my cervical pillow. I want to hear about yours because I'm googling these right now on the Amazon, and I
on
want
the
to know more.
Amazon. All right.
Cervical
Well,
pillows and you. How life changing sleep
ladies and
is.
gentlemen, Phil's gonna do the closing as soon as he's done browsing Amazon.
Phil doesn't remember what the closing is, but thank you for listening to And Whose Fault Is That? This week's episode titled "I Think It's Gonna Be Killed by an Ottoman." Um,
I think it's gonna be killed by an ottoman or giant mug hurt shin. Those are the only two notes.
muggy shitty cervical pillow.
Muggy
Is
shinny
that
cervical.
is that stressing your neck, or are you happy to see me?
Oh God, folks. Okay.
Listen, I like chiropractic foreplay, but that's just
And on that note, we will see you next Thursday, everybody. Thank you and good night.
toodles. Thanks for listening to Off It Podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday. Come find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.